Welcome back to 1 Minute Monday. I hope you're all doing really well. And on this fine misty morning, we're going to be taking a look at the differences between the Nash Bushwhacker baiting pole and the newer Pro versions. So I think by now we all know what the Nash Bushwhacker baiting pole is. If anything that the past couple of years has taught us with Nash and carp fishing in general, that the Bushwhacker is an absolute edge when it comes to carp fishing. I think that isn't really a question that needs debating. I think it's been proven time and time again. Likes of all the people that have been using it on social media, obviously Ollie Davis being the big one and everyone else, it definitely puts extra fish on your bank and works very well. This is the standard one that you've all seen for the past couple of years. Takes about half a kilo of bait, drops your rig right where you want it. It comes in the bag with 10 1.5 metre sections, giving you a total of 15 metres reach out of the bag. And then you can obviously buy separate 1.5 metre sections to make it go as far as you want effectively, because there is no limit to the length that you can make it. Some people have had them 80-90 yards, for instance, to reach the overhanging tree canopies on far banks, and it's worked really well for them. Or you can just use it straight out the bag for dropping those rigs into close by margins. So I don't think we need to talk about that one very much at all. It's tried and tested, it's put hundreds of extra fish on the bank for people, and it works very well. And then from last year's trade show, they introduced the new Pro versions, and they are now in stock. So there's two different versions. You've got the Bushwhacker Pro and the Bushwhacker Pro XL, which is an absolute beast. Both have the same functions apart from the size difference, so I'll talk about those in general. Now, out of the bag, they come with the same 10 1.5 metre sections that are completely interchangeable. So if you've already got one of these and you just want to get the new style Bushwhacker, you can do that. You can use all the poles and all the different heads. The head design has changed ever so slightly, with the catamaran sides being a little bit more aerodynamic to make them easier to go through the water at long distances, which is a nice touch. And the capacity on the Pro is exactly the same as it is on the standard Bushwhacker, which is about half a kilo. And then moving up to the Mac Daddy, the XL, the capacity on this thing is about 1.5 kilos, which is ridiculous. If you're really wanting to get a spot going or bait up heavily in pre-bait, this is the one for you, that's without a doubt. Now, the two standout differences that you see on the Pro compared to the standard Bushwhacker is this thing here and then this thing here. One of them is pretty obvious what it is, and the other one you might not be too sure. So the obvious one first is this one here. It's a deeper mount. So you can mount your deeper now to the front of your baiting spoon and send it out with it. There were a couple of aftermarket things that came out for the standard Bushwhacker at the time, straps that went round the poles and things like this. But this now has a proper dedicated deeper mount for the front of your Bushwhacker, which clips on. You can take it off if you don't need it, so you can send it out to find your spots and figure out exactly where you're fishing. Now, the other interesting thing on the back of the spoon here is this triangular shaped arch on top of the spoon. This is called the leading bridge. When I first saw this a couple of years ago at the Nash trade show, I thought it was a little bit of a gimmick, if I'm honest with you. I wasn't convinced at all. But then in the test tank at the trade show, I had a little bit of a play with it and I thought, you know what, actually, this is a massive edge. So what it basically does is you can send your spoon out to your spot that you found with the deeper that's mounted on the front of your spoon. You can have just your leading rod or your marker rod with just a bare lead on in the spoon with a line going through the top of this leading bridge here. And then when you've reached your spot, you turn your spoon over, so you invert it and drop your lead down onto the deck of the lake. This leading bridge then retains your main line or your braid in the spoon. So you can basically use it as a bit of a cantilever, and you can lift your rod up and lead on the spot that your baiting spoon is over while still retaining the line through your baiting spoon. So you can check what the substrate's like, you can bounce it around, see if it's a clay area, a hard spot, a gravel, or if it's silt or whatever it might be. Then once you've figured out what it is, you can just bring it back in. It clips back up to here, you can bring your baiting spoon in with your rig on. Or alternatively, if you're sending your spoon out with your rig on with bait in there, everything's ready to go, you get out to your spot, you turn your spoon over, you drop all your free offerings on your spot and your rig as well, and then you can just check the lie of your rig on the deck before you let go of it, shall we say. So you can give it a couple of bounces just to make sure it's where you want it, turn your spoon over the other way, the line exits this line clip here and your rig is fishing ready to go, with you knowing that you're fishing on the exact spot that you want to be on. Then you retrieve your baiting spoon as you would normally. Now don't get me wrong, that feature that might not be for everyone. You might just want to send your spoon out and tip your bait out and be done with it. But if you want that extra 1%, you want to make sure that your rig is fishing exactly where you want it to be, that leading bridge is an absolute edge in your fishing. So when you think about how much of an edge the baiting spoon is, then you add on the extra edge of the leading bridge and the deeper mount as well. This thing is a little force to be reckoned with when it comes to fishing and finding those spots. As I said before, on the Deeper Pro XL, features are exactly the same. Leading bridge is a little bit bigger because of the size of the actual spoon. It's just the capacity that changes. Now price wise, obviously there's a price difference between all of these. Your standard baiting spoon's about 200 quid or just under. And then the Bushwhacker Pro is about 230 quid or just under, and the Bushwhacker Pro XL is just under 250 quid. So it's about 30 quid extra to get the features of the leading bridge and the deeper mount and the slightly more aerodynamic head that is compared to the normal Bushwhacker, and then a further 20 quid on top of that if you want to go for the really big hopper. So there you have the difference between the Nash Bushwhacker and the Bushwhacker Pro and the Bushwhacker Pro XL, so you can figure out which one is right for you that you may need. Obviously they're in store on our website and they're available in store for you to see and get your hands on yourself, and all the relevant links will be in the description below. Well, that's it for this one. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.